All right, here we go. So everyone should be on the back part. This is what it looks like. We're going to label our water first, and then we'll get into starting to label our cities. So this is your Mediterranean Sea. I'm just writing Med Sea. This is your Black Sea. This is your Caspian Sea. This is your Persian Gulf. This is your Red Sea right over here. Okay, those are your big bodies of water. This is the Nile River. This is your Tigris. I'm going to just draw a line to it because I have a lot of other things going here. Tigris River, and this is your Euphrates River. Okay, all right. So continuing with this, we are going to do a little bit here. Now, this city that I'm drawing in right here is going to be the home of 3 different religions. What is the name of this city? What do you got for me, Charlotte? Jerusalem. Now, Jerusalem is located here. S-A-L-E-M. Okay, now this is going to be the capital of Egypt. What is it called today? What do you got, Thompson? Cairo. Do you know what its traditional name is? Giza. G-I-Z-A. Okay, is down here. Now, this is the holy city, the holiest city in Egypt is located right here. Does anyone know what it's called? What do you got, Stephen? No, that's actually going to be over here, and that's the holy city of Islam. This is going to be Thebes. This is where the city of the dead is. Have you ever seen The Mummy? You know how they go and they try to find the dead city and stuff like that? It's over there. This is where all your pharaohs are buried. Okay, now over here, this territory is actually called Nuba, which we're going to label here in a little bit. This part over here is called Upper Egypt, which we're going to label now. All right, so over here, over by our Tigris and Euphrates River, what civilization is going to call this area home? What do you got? Ripke? Mesopotamia. Now, up towards the top, this is called Assyria. Assyria is a region of Mesopotamia. Now, Assyria has a capital of Assur, A-S-S-U-R. They are a military capital. They are the military leaders of Mesopotamia. Now, Mesopotamia's capital city is a very famous city, and it's located right here. Does anyone know the capital city of Mesopotamia? It has hanging gardens. What do you got? Babylon, and that's right here. Babylon is going to be your capital of Mesopotamia. We have Sumner, which is here, which is going to be a major city. It's a cultural center of the world of Mesopotamia. And we have the city of Ur here, which is going to be a major trading capital in between the east and here. So here are your major cities. Over by Jerusalem, we're going to make 3 little loops. Remember, do the best you can. It doesn't have to be perfect, but do the best you can. We're going to start coloring them in here in just a second. So in your little box, you need 2, 4, 6 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So your first box, just label it Egypt. Nubia is going to be your next one. Then you have Phoenicia. Then you have Kingdom of Israel. Then you have Kingdom of Judah. And then you have Mesopotamia. All right, so I'm going to take out my color pencils, and I'm going to start with Egypt. Egypt will be my first country I color, and I'm going to use, it doesn't matter whatever you use, but I'm going to use gray. All right, so Egypt is going to be located around the Nile River. It is going to go all the way down here. Now, what is it called when a river fans out like this as it enters another body of water? T. Delta, absolutely. Now, there is something very unique about the Nile River. Who can tell me what is unique about the Nile River? What is so unique about it, Dow?
It flows the wrong way.
Well, any river on that side goes north, but yeah. What else about the Nile River? What else is unique about the Nile River? What do you got, Dom?
Longest river in the world.
Okay, yeah, no. Yeah, it is. No, that's not where I was going. What about its flooding? Oh my god, did you guys not do your reading? Oh my goodness. Okay, what do you got, Abby?
It floods China.
Floods China? No, the Nile River does not flood China. It's a pretty big flood if it did, though. That would be a pretty impressive flood.
It floods Egypt and it like helps the irrigation.
It helps with the irrigation, yes. All of these civilizations that we're studying this week, Mesopotamia, the Phoenicians, the Hebrews, all that, are living along rivers, which means they're flooding. Have you ever noticed that the Egyptians had pyramids and all these other crazy buildings that we still have evidence of, yeah? Okay, the reason why they have it and the Mesopotamians don't, the Mesopotamians have ziggurats. The ziggurats are like little pyramids that have like bigger steps to them. They're kind of funky looking. The reason why the Egyptians have tons and tons and tons of buildings and the Mesopotamians have none and the Yellow River has nothing is because of flowing of the river, the flooding. What happens, John, is that the flooding of the Nile River is so predictable. It's the same 3 weeks. For 3 weeks, the river, the Nile River, floods 1.5 miles on each side of the river. That if you're there, you'll be completely wiped out. But it's the same 3 weeks a year. So during those 3 weeks, is it devastating for the people if you can leave knowing it's coming? No. So you just leave, and then you come back, and all of a sudden your soil is super rich and super dense with nutrients. Okay? Because of that, they can plan their whole year around the flooding, which means they have such a pattern that they're not rebuilding their houses all the time. If they're not rebuilding their houses all the time, guess what they can do? They can focus on other things. Their river is so predictable, it allows them to build infrastructure. Infrastructure is government buildings, religious sites, all these different types of things. No one has as much stuff as the Egyptians. We knew more about the Egyptians than anyone else because they have more stuff, more infrastructure, more time on their hands because their river is predictable. China, we know very little about the Su, the Shang, and the Xia because they're constantly rebuilding their houses. Mesopotamia, we only have 3 ziggurats that survived up until modern times, until we have photos. Only 1 survived until 2014, and then ISIS tore it apart. Okay, so this is a big deal. River flooding is a huge deal. The Nile River is known for it. That's why they have pyramids. That's why they have Sphinx, all these different types of things. Now, this is also some of the richest farmland in the world because of the predictable river flooding. Now, when we talk about the Egyptians, they have a lot of money. They have a lot of time. Now, the Egyptians are going to be fighting with the people called Nubia. Oh, I need to color in my key. I'm sorry. Then the Nubians are going to be downriver. The Nubians are going to be warlike, but they're not as effective as the Egyptians. Now, the Nubians and the Egyptians are going to be fighting for the whole time their civilization exists. The Egyptians are going to last until the Roman Empire. Who is the last ruler of Egypt? Oh my God, she's the only chick who's going to rule until the 1500s. What do you got? Cleopatra. She is the last emperor, last leader of Egypt. Okay, then it will be completely conquered by the Romans. So Nubia is going to be fighting with them. They don't have as nice of farmland as the Egyptians. So our next one is Phoenicia. Now the Phoenicians are very strange. The Phoenicians are going to be located over here. If you see where I'm coloring, just north of Jerusalem. Now, the Phoenicians are not on a river valley. They're actually sailors. They are the first ones to really start sailing across the Mediterranean Sea. They are only really good for 2 things. They're really good sailors, which will lay the foundation for the Greeks, who will then lay the foundation for the Romans. They also do one other thing. What is the other great thing? What do you got for me, Cameron? Alphabet. They have a very simple alphabet. Egypt has what written language, Will?
Hieroglyphics.
Hieroglyphics. Are they easy or hard to learn?
Kind of easy to learn.
Who's using hieroglyphics? Who's using them in Egypt? Are the poor people using them, or are the wealthy and the religious leaders? Wealthy and the religious leaders. So is it easy or hard to learn? Hard. In Mesopotamia, which for me is going to be this teal color. In Mesopotamia, they also have a writing system. Who can tell me what the name of their writing system is? It's also the first one in the world. Rena? Cuneiform. Now, cuneiform is the first writing system. Is it easy or hard to learn? Who do you think's using it? If it's the first one, who do you think's using it? The highly, highly educated, your government officials and your leaders. Okay, it is not very user-friendly. It's very effective. They use a reed, they stick it into some like clay, and they make little shapes to it. Okay, that's cuneiform. Very hard to learn, very tricky to do, not very useful. Going back to the Phoenicians see what they're doing and they see what the Egyptians are doing, and they say this has to be simpler. They don't have a large government, can we agree? They're not a very big country. So, they're sailors. Do you think sailors need to keep account of how much stuff they have? So they keep a very simple alphabet in order to represent things. Their alphabet will spread throughout the world. It will be the foundation of the Greek language. The Greek language is the foundation of all of your Romance languages, which is English, French, German, all these other ones. That's their big contribution. So here's Mesopotamia. Now, the Kingdom of Israel. Now, the Kingdom of Israel is going to be your first Jewish homeland. Now, your Jews are going to have diaspora. Who can tell me what is diaspora? Who can raise your hand and tell me what is diaspora? You had a quiz on it today. Esmeralda.
They were forced to exile their homeland.
Okay, so please listen. The Jews occupied this land. This is their original homeland. What happens is another group of people are going to come and say, I want this territory. It's right on the Mediterranean Sea. It also has a lot of rivers on it. It's pretty good farmland. So what happens is the Jews get kicked out of their own home. Why do they justify removing the Jews from their homeland? Who can raise their hand? Why are the Jews say, you're not worthy of this land? Go. What makes them unique, John?
They have a god.
They have a what? Well, everyone has a god. Most of them have a different type of god. What type of god makes the Jews different? What do you got, Ripke?
They're monotheistic.
They are monotheistic. Now, do you think people live here in Africa? Yeah. Well, actually, that's a bad example. It's Saharan Desert. You probably not many people here. Do you think people live here in Africa? Do you think people are existing here? Do you think people are existing here? Yeah, people are living all over the place, but we're only coloring where societies, where we have cities, where we have villages, where government's in control. Other people are coming in here and taking over. Everywhere else in the world, everyone believes in polytheism. Polytheism is what, Stephen? Multiple gods. So all of a sudden we have these Jews who believe in one God. Does that make them strange? Does that make them weird? Absolutely. So they feel like you're strange, you're weird, you don't deserve to be here. So they kick them out of their homeland. So all of a sudden now the Jews move into what they call the Kingdom of Israel. The Kingdom of Israel is just north. For me, it's going to be pink. This Kingdom of Israel is their second home. They get kicked out of the Kingdom of Israel. Then they go to the Kingdom of Judah. Same thing is going to happen to them. They're going to get kicked out from there because they are weird. They believe in one God instead of multiple gods. They believe that because they only believe in one God, that their polytheistic gods say the shame on you and kick them out. They have the right to do that. So guess what? The Jews have one kingdom and two kingdoms. What happens to the second one? Huh? It gets taken over, and what do we call it? Diaspora. It happens twice to the Jews. Not once, but twice. Once they get kicked out of here, who comes in and says, come with me? Who takes them in, Rena?
The Egyptians.
Okay, when I say take them in, it sounds like we're protecting them. Are the Egyptians protecting them? No. What are they doing to them? They enslave them. And what are they doing while they're hanging out in Egypt, being enslaved? Yes, you are completely correct. Okay, the Kingdom of Israel is going to start. They get kicked out of there. They get moved they start their own Kingdom of Judah. Okay, they get kicked out of there as well. Then the Egyptians are like, well, now we have a workforce. They go up, they capture them, bring them back to Giza. Once they're there, they are enslaved for about 800 years until we have let my people go. And that's not going to happen for about 800 years. And who's that? Moses. Okay, so diaspora happens twice for the Jews. That is why today, in period 6, almost 3,000 years later, Israel is placed where? Right here. That is why after World War II, we give back the land to the Jews. Israel is created as an I'm sorry for the Holocaust, located in their original homeland, which we'll come back to this big issue. All right, so this front map is done. You have to color in the water and color in the land. To the front side, please. We're going to label our water. Here we go. This is your Arabian Sea. I flipped it over. Join me. This is your Arabian Sea. This is your Bay of Bengal. See ya. I know, it's a new bell. I'm